I was like a really good player.
Just the appreciation of basketball at all levels.
Yeah, I'm a player. I feel like I just gotta get on the court. You know, I feel like if I get the opportunity to get on the court, that's where the name comes from. Everyday guys, and these are everyday conversations we have. What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 1 of the Everyday Guys podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Nicola Jogo, and I'm here with Ray Kim, my trainer, friend. We've been around hoops for a very long time, and had the idea of starting up this podcast for a pretty long time now. And I think the kind of style of basketball that we appreciate and the kind of style of basketball that we strive to, for me, play and for Ray to coach, really helps us have insights into the game that I think are rare nowadays, I'd say. And for me personally as a player, I've been around the game for a very long time. I'm a pro now, played at all kinds of levels, you know, through high school, prep school, high major D1, mid-major D1, now overseas. And I think I have a lot of personal experiences and a lot of friends and people that I've met throughout my years that all have, you know, interesting stories and insights in the game of basketball in the community. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a ton of really interesting episodes, and I'm excited to get this rolling.
And I think one of the things that we want to promote is just the appreciation of basketball at all levels.
Yep.
Right? It's not just the NBA, not just at the highest level. I know there's a lot of platforms that promote highest level of basketball all the time, but I think the goal for us is to promote just good basketball, whether it's European level, whether it's high school level, even NBA level, obviously.
Yep.
But I do think that there's a need for promotion of just good, solid basketball.
Yeah.
Not these highlights.
Yep.
That's what everyone does, but I think the promotion of just good, solid basketball where there's some type of structure and organization involved, I think that's super important.
I agree. And I mean, obviously, you have players who make it to the NBA and play at the highest level, but for a large majority of people playing the game, they're not going to make it to the NBA. And I think being able to promote some of these styles of play that they might have a bigger chance of playing in these environments is more beneficial, I'd say, than like you said, just promoting the highest of the highest levels, you know?
And the insights from different players from different levels too.
Yeah.
Right? I think there's too many platforms out there that are always promoting the NBA and the glamorous lifestyle of NBA players and professional basketball players, but there's also other aspects as well when it comes to European basketball players and how do they move up from league to league, and I think that's important to talk about.
And I think that's where the name comes from, Everyday Guys. These are everyday conversations we have, and I think it's more relatable, a little more interesting because it's more relevant. And yeah, like I said before, I think there's going to be a lot of good guests coming on and a lot of good stories to be told. Yeah. So, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, good.
Speaking of good basketball, there's not a lot of basketball going on right now in the summertime other than the Olympics basketball, which is a lot more international, a lot more, I would say, European.
Global display of the game.
Global display.
Yep.
So we thought George would be a really good person to talk about the Olympics.
Welcome, baby.
International basketball, because he's European.
And Serbian. and us Serbs know our basketball.
Yeah. So I guess the first question would be, is Olympics basketball good, like considered good basketball in your definitions?
I'm going to say yes.
Why?
I think the first reason for me why I would say yes is the rule set that they're using. So they're playing by FIBA rules.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff, like things that I don't like, I would say in the NBA, that are a little gimmicky, like guys searching for fouls and whatnot. Like that's taken out of the game.
Right.
So I think it's a little more pure. Plus, there's a lot more physicality on the defensive end.
That's true. Yep. I think what the thing you said with the foul emergence, I was watching the USA-Serbia exhibition game last week. Obviously, USA ended up blowing them out, but there was one particular play where Embiid caught the ball in the post, a little outside of the block, and he tried to do the same sweeping motion to draw a foul, and Jokic just kind of had his hands like straight up, and the ref didn't even sniff the whistle. Like, it was just dead silent, and Embiid's looking around like, where's the foul? And they went up and scored in transition. And I think you're going to see a lot of that, where in the NBA, foul call, get your points, get the superstars their numbers, and I just think, like you said, it's going to make the game a lot more better flowing and just a better display of the actual team talent, I'd say.
So how does like the factor of they haven't trained together that much?
Yeah.
Right. Some teams have a roster where they've been playing together for a long time, but I don't think they had like 2-3 months of preparation when it comes to Olympics basketball, preparing for this.
Yeah.
So how does that? I guess the difference between that and obviously you have to play kind of a structured basketball to win these games.
Yeah.
Right. Because when we talk about like AAU basketball, not a lot of practice, and you just kind of get together and play. So how do you think that affects the teams when it comes to their play?
Well, firstly, with USA, I put them on a whole separate little categories, which I don't want to, but the level of talent that they have, 1 through 12, 13, 14, whatever, even though they are together for such a short period of time, I just think they're able to assimilate to each other's games. You see it on display all the time with Team USA because of simple, like, there's a point where like the talent threshold just is so great that it minimizes some of the other concerns you have for a short period of time. Then with the other teams, you really do see the teams that end up playing very well are the ones that have kept a core roster, because you gotta remember, yeah, this is the Olympics now, but there's qualifying tournaments, there's a FIBA World Cup, there's a bunch of other games being played, and teams that are able to keep a core kind of guys and then add in pieces tend to do really, really well. And I think those European windows of when they play these tournaments and these qualifying games are important to get reps and learn how to play together. And then coaching comes into play, and how well players can absorb what the coach is. Like, all of these are little tiny factors that can all determine how good a team will be.
Yeah, I agree. Like, just to add to it a little bit, like, again, like, I think looking at every team that's made the Olympics, obviously the level of talent, not just the USA, but across the globe is high. So like when you're adding in, I don't know, let's Serbia, for example, right? Like, you got them.
It's a great example.
Yeah. I mean, so you got them to add, right? So you have Jokic coming in late, Bogdanovic jumping in a little bit later, Jovic and whatnot. But that core group, like Alexa, Abramovic, thank you.
Say it with more accent though.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's a lot easier to slip in those high level guys and just kind of get them going. Because we chatted about this before too, like when we were in the hotel in that last Pennsylvania trip.
That sounds fishy, but it's all right.
What?
Okay.
You're
making it sound fishy.
Oh yeah. Heard
the two of us.
Heard there have some weird stuff going on around 412. I don't know, man.
I have to say no Diddy after it.
Yeah.
Then we're good. But no, we talked about like do you think it's easy to coach Team USA, or do you think it's difficult? And I think our biggest point was like,
but who's coaching Team USA?
Yeah, no, me.
No. I'm saying, is Steve Kerr coaching Team USA, or is LeBron coaching Team USA?
Oh, this guy's bringing up getting away from the point. But the thing that we said was, and we both agreed, I think that's such a high level. I think a lot of it just kind of concepts more than less sets, right?
Yeah.
Like, those guys understand how to play, understand how to move up the ball, right? Like, when to pass, when to cut, just simple things like that. So I think the basics of the game are covered, and you can see like within Team USA's play, like the way they do move the ball, like it's not like crazy sets or something they're running. They're just playing basketball and making reads off each other.
But I do think there's, we coach basketball. When you talk about a really, really talented group,
yeah,
you're probably, as a coach, you're probably like, just let them play a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of having them in such a structured environment. Like, when you're talking about really, really talented players, we just let them go.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas, if we're lacking a little bit of talent, right, I do think that
a more structured.
More structure the better. Right. Because it's like you can't really make up that talent by out talenting other teams.
Yeah.
So like when you talked about these teams, other than the US, obviously, these teams that kind of a lot of the guys on the team are kind of growing up together. They're, you see like familiar faces
Yeah.
on each team,
Yeah.
right? Do you think that has to do with like the lack of talent in European basketball or like internationally
Mm-hmm.
versus like American? I'm not saying
Where you're saying
internationally.
why are they the same faces throughout?
Yeah, because it's like it's not like US where you can have different faces every single time and you're
Yeah.
supremely talented.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, look, the sheer fact is that countries are a lot smaller and they have
Yeah,
a much less smaller pool to pick
Yeah,
from,
yeah,
right? And so it would be great to have smaller countries be able to shift through
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, the NBA is primarily made up of U.S. players, and so the pool you have to pick from of talented guys capable of playing at an Olympic level is just much greater,
Yeah.
and so these European teams, national teams, don't have the luxury of doing that, but rather try and identify talent early on, grow them through their respective systems, and then pray to God that once they get to senior level, it all works out and that they didn't make the wrong decision. Honestly, I don't know what else they can do.
Every team is dealt with different cards, right?
Yeah.
And then,
sorry to cut you off. I think the biggest thing with Europe is obviously even in younger categories, like U17 or under 19, like the US is obviously winning a lot of games and they're still dominant. But you can see the progression of players from a young age on the national team, and it continues all the way up to the senior team. Like Spain, like you had the Gasol brothers.
No, but I guess my point is like that can only happen because you have limited amount of talent, right? Whereas like LeBron James didn't play in the last 2 Olympics.
No.
Yeah. Like Steph Curry, I don't think he played in the last Olympic.
Yeah.
But you can, there's so much more talent, right?
Yeah,
like
there's one thing that I was thinking of, and so when you build a team of a smaller country for an extended period of time, I think you try to create an identity, a culture, develop roles, whatever the case may be, throughout an extended period of time. What Team USA is very lucky with, when you have too many chefs in the kitchen, a big problem is guys not being okay with their roles, the chemistry being off, whatever the case may be. With Team USA and the luxury they have is, even LeBron at his end stages of his career, LeBron, when those guys join a team, it's very quickly established who the alpha is.
Yeah.
And it just seemed that the other players do a great job of falling in line.
That is very true.
Right? So like you would see Kevin Durant, right? All these guys who have their own respective amazing careers, you would think that there would be issues but for some reason, those players are really, really great at coming together and determining this is the guy, this is guy B, I have to do this, I have to do that. And they're really good at just adopting roles that they don't necessarily have in the NBA. And I think that's the most impressive thing with Team USA, in my opinion, that they're able to do that.
Yeah, like a Carmelo Anthony, for example. He was one of the best FIBA basketball players of all time. And I don't think he wanted to take more shots or anything like that, but he just took the ones that he got, rebounded, and then played a little bit of defense. And then it's kind of, it is interesting to think about that, right? Because you think of NBA players, especially like superstars with like the egos and the roles and whatever. It is interesting that, okay, I'm Anthony Davis, I'm making X amount of money, playing on the Lakers. Yeah. I'm fine with being on the bench. Yeah. And coming off the bench. Yeah. Which is impressive.
And there was the documentary, the Redeem Team documentary, and I forget the exact specifics, but it was the team that ended up losing, maybe 2004.
But then I remember
LeBron being on that team, D Wade being on the team, the young guys, and they were complaining how like they weren't mad they weren't playing, but they were like, we can help, and yet we're not playing. And there was this whole like power dynamic thing where the new generation wanted to contribute more, and they maybe felt they were better than the guys who were playing, right? And that little tiff and stuff, you can tell in such a short time span of guys coming together, it's important to find this like synergy.
But I do think the biggest difference between like that team versus like other teams was that they had a coach that wanted to just, I guess have them be so structured.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So there's
like
that balance.
Larry Brown was a coach who wasn't gonna just let players do their thing. Yeah. Right? He was gonna put them into roles and this is what you're doing, and if you don't do it, you're not playing. Whereas you see guys like Mike Krzyzewski, Steve Kerr, guys like that are kind of letting the team, play a little bit with their talent. Yeah, I don't know what what the
But I think it also comes with age. Like that Team USA that lost to Greece,
Yeah.
and they came third at Olympics. I think age did play a part of it, right? Like maturity of some guys and whatnot.
yeah, they were young.
Like, they were young.
LeBron
Like you're going back to
So they didn't play
an
much.
ego thing,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there was like a bruised ego, like going to Anthony Edwards. Like he's confident as hell. He still thinks he's the best guy, and obviously that confidence has got him to where he's at. But I think having a coach that like Larry Brown that will put a system in, I think is also needed at times. Like it has to have somewhat of a flow and somewhat of kind of understanding. Okay, we're going to play through this guy mainly,
Yeah.
or like if you leave it too wide open, then I think it becomes to where, like Nick was saying, there's too many chefs in the kitchen, and then it just starts to.
See, but I don't think Anthony Edwards thinks like, how he said in the interview, like, oh, I'm the first option.
Yeah.
I don't actually think he
Means it?
like means it in a bad way.
I think
No,
it's,
I
I think
don't-
it's the same
I
way.
don't-
Yeah.
I think
don't think
he's
so
like
either.
supremely confident
Yeah.
about himself.
But the
And
fact
I do
that someone
think-
tells him LeBron's the guy, he's not there like, I should be the guy.
Yeah,
I don't think there's
he's
any of that.
thinking like,
Yeah.
like I'm playing with LeBron and
Yeah,
Steph Curry,
I agree
all-time
100%.
greats. I'm like, I gotta
Whatever
take it
the-
back.
Yeah.
Looking at the FIBA World Cup when they had, I don't know, was it Halliburton, from Edwards, or with Mikal Bridges on the team? That
Yeah.
team, that
Jalen
one,
Brunson.
there was the one that just lost in 2023 to
Yeah,
Germany.
to
That
Germany.
team had some issues within, I think, because
Well-
Edwards had a big issue coming off the bench. I know Kerr brought up Dwayne Wade and whatnot.
Yep, that was zero. That team was zero A-listers from the NBA.
Yeah,
Zero.
Sure. Like again, you had Halliburton and some other guys who
like not a
team.
lot of veterans
Yes.
on the team. It's a bunch of like 22, 3-year-olds.
Yeah. Not a single guy who's been at that level before and won.
Correct. But again, his willingness there was not like it wasn't there. Like he wasn't willing to be like, okay, let me come off the bench and let me play more with the
Yeah,
second unit
because
as he
you're
should.
not playing
Yeah.
against with LeBron.
Yeah.
You're not playing with LeBron and freaking Steph Curry and
Yeah.
Jason Tatum and
Yeah.
all these
correct.
guys.
But like I do think like as a coach, like we'll look at lineups and like again, like you'll sometimes plug in a guy that maybe isn't the best on the not the best, should I say, maybe that isn't top 5 in the team, but fits better with that lineup. Right? Like I think a lot of stuff plays into it. Like again, like what's his face? Steve Kerr used it a great example, like D Wade. I know Edwards' response was, well, there's no Kobe's or LeBrons on this team.
Yeah.
But again, maybe Steve Kerr as a coach saw something that Edwards would do better with that second unit instead of the first and whatnot. So again, I think it's easier now for him obviously to kind of back off because you got LeBron, you got Steph, you got KD. But I do think there were issues in the past with them trying to buy in, which is why they lost at the Olympics and they had to come out with the dream team. Right?
Yeah,
I think Krzyzewski is a little more strict too than I think Kerr. I think Kerr's really laid back. Like Mike obviously had a balance. He understood these are NBA guys and, I got to let them play a little bit. But I think he did a great job of developing a culture and especially a culture of like we're playing to win.
Yeah.
Not because, I got, you have Kobe on the team, this guy on the team. Like they were really bought into let's just move the ball, let's play as a team, and let's redeem the last couple of years of
I also
failure.
think now that you brought him up, especially that the dream team, and the redeem team, sorry, with Mike Krzyzewski, I think more so than being bought in to the system that Mike Krzyzewski was trying to implement, they were bought into Mike Krzyzewski himself.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think that itself, you see it in the documentary all the time, the way Kobe respected him, the way LeBron respect Kobe said if he ended up going to college, it would have been to Duke to play like LeBron said he hated Duke growing up or whatever, and then all of a sudden the respect he had for Mike Krzyzewski was tremendous. So when you have your two alphas with that kind of respect for the coach, I think it sets up a very easy transition to what he's saying being adopted at a continuous level throughout the entire team. So I think that also plays a big role with me personally speaking as a player. No matter who the coach is or what they're trying to implement, if you don't respect them as a coach themselves, it's a lot harder for them to actually get players to buy into the system, no matter how good the system actually is.
We've been talking about you at Team USA for a while.
Yeah.
I think is honestly one of the best teams they've ever put together, just as far as talent level.
Yeah.
Like 1 through 12?
Yeah.
1 through 12, there's not a lot of guys that you can say and be like, oh, that's the 11th guy and the 12th guy.
Yeah.
Usually they would have a team full of talented players, but then like you see like, even Javal McGee was on the team last Olympics team, like DeAndre Jordan, like some of these guys that are,
Yeah.
you would say, 11th, 12th guy that might not play a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think this team has players like that. Maybe one,
Yeah.
maybe a couple. Yeah, but not like glaring.
The first name that came to mind was Derek White.
Yeah,
And he
but
came
it's
on
not.
as
I don't think it's as glaring as like past years.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
But
they also came prepared this year. I think the sprinter, U.S. sprinter Noah, what's his last name?
Yeah, the G that said the comment about the
Yeah, about the world champs things, like I think he's when they won, like
It's that, but also it's the fact that it's Paris Olympics. Honestly, like LeBron didn't play in the last two Olympics. Okay, yeah, during COVID, he's not going to go to Tokyo
Yeah.
and then it was
Rio.
Brazil, right?
Yeah.
It's the fact that it's Paris. Like a lot of star players want to go to places like that, right?
True,
But
I do think there was some motivation because there was a lot of talk about how the U.S. is falling behind.
This I
We're
agree
all
with.
catching up.
I don't think it's because of the sprinter guy's comment, but I think in general the overall.
Well, no, I'm
yeah.
saying that like example, like that's an American sprinter, right? Like even he's coming out like, you're not the world champ. Like the world, it's.
are they not though? That's something we can talk about right now. I think people are talking about, other countries catching up. Is there truth to it? Is there not? I think there is.
The other countries are catching up to the U.S.
I do think there is. There are countries that are catching up.
Yeah.
But I still think it's not close.
Coming to the strength of the U.S., I don't want to say anything or compare them to the 2008 team or the 92 team until the Olympics are actually over and we see what they're able to do.
Of course.
They win in a dominant fashion. They're definitely top three. Whether they're better than the 92 team, I think the 2008 team, hands down.
Yeah,
but
it's really good. Yeah,
Yeah, that's like for me, I'm back and forth with 92.
Relating it back to what you said, despite everything, I still think they are very beatable for these Olympics. I think the teams who have the biggest chance of beating them are Canada and Serbia.
Really?
Yes.
Why Canada? Let's go with Canada.
I just think, look, let me just clarify by saying, in no way am I saying it's easy to beat them or that they will. I'm just saying they aren't, based on their roster, unbeatable, an unbeatable team, right? And I think a big portion of USA's strength is fear factor that they had, which I think goes away significantly year after year, Olympics after Olympics. You have Canada, who has a roster comprised of, I think it's entirely NBA players. I think there's one or two guys who play.
A couple players, yeah.
Close to it.
Yeah.
Where there isn't absolutely any kind of like, oh man, we're playing Team USA, right? Like, naturally, obviously, if you're playing guys like LeBron, Curry, no matter how old they are, I still think there's a little bit of a, you wake up and you feel a little bit more excited for a game like that. But whether there's actual fear involved, I don't think that's the case as it might have been years past. And I think teams are just, you got to remember, after the group stages, it's a single knockout. And you don't have to be the better. I heard the saying was, one of my European coaches said it. You don't have to be the better team to win. You just have to be the better team that day. And I think teams can. You saw them against South Sudan.
Yep.
Yes, I understand if they would probably play them the next day, they would win by 70. But I'm just saying, all it takes is a bad shooting night.
Yep.
The other team catching on fire, taking care of the ball, and I think the teams that have. Honestly, more than Canada, I think Serbia has the best, and not because I'm Serbian, but I just believe that
a little bit.
I just believe that
Be a little biased.
that the makeup of their team and the disciplined style of basketball that they play is very well designed to capitalize on a team playing poorly that day.
Like if you look at back, like just throughout the history of teams that have beat USA, like I'm going back a lot to that Greek team, with Diamantidis. Baby Shaq, their center.
Yeah.
They played really slow half-court basketball, right? Like they slowed the game down. Obviously, U.S. thrives in transition. Like they struggled guarding a pick and roll. They couldn't guard a pick and roll. Like Greece tore them apart with just half-court basketball, pick and roll. So I think another team for me that I think is a big or not big factor, should I say? Sorry, a team that can really beat the U.S. and give them problems is Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Germany's tough.
I mean, they did it.
They got a lot of good players. And then just the style of basketball they play. Schroeder is great in the pick and roll. They have a lot of options when it comes.
A lot of shots out shooting.
Yep, like Andreas Obst, if I'm probably mispronounced his name, but right, 3-and-D kind of guy, catches, shoots it. Tice can spread the floor. You have both Wagner brothers. Like, that's a team I think that also gives them problems. They also have like Isaac Bonga, so they have athleticism, they have the size, and I think their style of play is their style of play is beneficial for them, obviously, against the U.S. just because of the way they play it.
I mean, you can argue about this all the time, like all day, right? But when I see Team USA lose, has more to do with them than the other teams, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If I, like Greece team, for example, we just talked about how, there was a lot of problems with the construction of the roster, and like LeBron, all these guys were young, and we had a coach who restricted them in a way. And to me, that had more to do with the Team USA than Greece per se, right?
Yeah, but
that's kind of how I feel about this Olympics too. If they lose, to me, is because like Team USA had an off day, rather than like these other teams have a way of figuring.
But at the end of the day, does that really matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's like it kind of works both ways.
But
even the South Sudan game, like like you could have a bad day and then lose by 1 or win by 1, whatever.
Yeah.
They could have easily lost that game, but do we say that about other countries too, right? Because other countries are that too, right?
Yeah.
Like they're playing exhibitions. France, we just talked about France losing 4 games in a row in exhibition games.
Yeah.
Does that say a lot about the strengths of France? I don't know.
But for example, hypothetically, so let's say, just because I mentioned Serbia a lot, let's switch to Canada, right? Let's say Canada plays the U.S. And talent-wise, if everybody's operating at their absolute maximum, USA talent, nobody can compare, correct? But let's say, so you're saying if USA loses, it's more to their issues than, another team being better than them.
I mean, it always worked both ways.
But so what I'm saying is, let's say Canada comes up with a really good game plan, all right, to throw US off their game, throw them off their rhythm, and they start missing shots, they can't find a flow or whatever. So, and Canada wins.
Yeah.
Is that because the US screwed themselves, or because Canada put out a game plan that counteracted what the US was trying to do?
I still think it has to do with America, just because of the talent level that they have this year.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe I wouldn't have said that about, let's say the last FIBA World Cup, for example.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, they were super
because of the roster they had.
That they could kind of trump everything.
I get what you're saying. The sheer talent they have.
Yeah, the sheer talent to me is like, it is one of the best. Like, when you have freaking Jason Tatum off the bench.
Oh, I know, it's insane.
Like, when you have Anthony Davis off the bench, to me is insane.
I would also argue with, like, if we're gonna hold USA up to this basketball powerhouse pedestal, right? They're the best and whatnot.
Which they are.
Correct. But my thing is, like, going back to that 2003 team.
2003.
So the FIBA World Cup you just mentioned, the one that just passed.
Oh.
You mentioned you had the team, the most recent USA team that lost, right? They came third.
What did you say? 2003.
Oh, sorry. 2023. My mistake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
2023.
Okay.
My mistake. Going back to that, don't you think that, again, like, that team still wasn't bad? You still had some really talented guys on there. Obviously, they're not.
It's not close to what they had this year.
Correct.
The best players were like.
If you have great coaching, you have NBA level coaching, you have NBA level talent. Like, you had guys on that team that are all stars, that average 20 a game. Like, in my mind, they still had pieces to get it done.
Oh, of course.
But to compare that team versus the team they have this year, it's not. I don't think it's comparable.
No, obviously it's not.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is, like, this year there is so much talent that they could almost like trump all the game plans and this and that.
Yes.
Right. That's my argument. Right. Like, obviously if we go back to the FIBA World Cup, yeah, you could probably game plan really well against Team USA, which a lot of teams did, obviously. Right. And then they beat them. So, but this year, I don't know. I
mean, this year, no. But, like, again, just the point I was trying to make was, if you're that good, right?
Yeah.
Like, your coaching staff are NBA level guys. I still think they should have got the job done in a way. Like, I think a lot of the issues with that 2023 team, I think, was from a coaching aspect too. Like they did struggle a little bit with the style of the game. Like FIBA, obviously, they let you play more. It's more physical. All right. They don't have the 3 seconds in the key rule. So there's always a defender in there. And I think just the overall style they struggled with. And I think that team lost. They could have won. And they still had the pieces. I think it was more of a coaching error than I think it was the players themselves.
So wait, the way we're describing USA, obviously, we all think they're the favorites.
Yes.
What does it take to beat them?
I mean, I think you have to have a perfectly executed game plan, obviously. Like, you have to go into the game knowing exactly what you're going to do, what you're going to try and exploit. And
What do you exploit?
well, this one, it's tough. Like, I think
That's my thing, right? Like, I don't think there's a lot you can do against this team, just because like you look at 1 through 10, they're all freaking. A lot of them are superstars, and like, it's not like there are players that are lacking a little bit. You can go after. I don't know.
Yeah, but my whole thing is, no matter if you're talking about Olympics, if you're talking about college, if you're talking about high school, whatever the strength of the teams are, basketball at the end of the day, at its very core, will be a make or miss game,
Of course,
right? And so my whole thing is, I get what you're saying, that like, even if USA loses, it's to them. But in my mind, if USA faces another powerhouse in the Olympic semis and they don't hit shots and don't make them,
Well, you can say that. Yeah, you can say.
but I'm saying, and the other team wins,
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm not automatically going to be thinking like, oh yeah, USA just USA should have won. Like, I'm going to give the credit to the team.
Of course,
yeah,
of course. But all I'm saying is, okay, if let's say LeBron James isn't working, and he's not having a great game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Off the bench, you don't have Chris Middleton like last FIBA World Cup. Now you have Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Or okay, somebody's not working out. Okay, you got Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm talking about, right? So I think the variance of and the chances of them having a complete off game is a lot lower.
Yeah.
Course. This year, right? But you could always have an off game and lose.
Even watching the exhibition games, though, that's USA's greatest strength. So in my head, I honestly believe. So you have the starting five. I mean, they changed it up a little bit, but let's say you have Curry, you have LeBron, you have Joel Embiid, you have, who's their four-man?
You could go whoever, Jason Tatum. You can go.
Yeah, I'm just forgetting who they actually started with. Regardless, besides the case,
I think they're going to start KD though now that he's back. KD's going to be their four.
That's starting five.
Yeah.
Versus another country starting five, one of the other favorites. I think if there was, like, when you play 2K and there's no fatigue, no subs.
Yeah.
I think that other teams could compete.
Yeah.
USA's biggest strength is when you have, let's say, most of the other teams, I think the max NBA players they have are maybe like 7 or 8. Australia has some, whatever.
Yeah.
When you switch your starting lineup and you have the subs come in, and then you have some EuroLeague guys who are talented players, but then you have more NBA All-Stars off the bench and, like, perennial franchise pieces of NBA. That's where the biggest gap is.
I agree, and you've seen it too, right? In these exhibition games, like the second unit will come in and they would, increase the lead, and they and it's like, I think LeBron's kind of been the best player if you have to pick a player so far.
Yeah,
but you could also make an argument that different players were the best player in each game.
Yeah, I know. All their own respective,
which is insane.
I also do appreciate the fact that I think Team USA also, every year on their roster, they always have a guy or two that they put on the roster because he plays the right way. And I think for Team USA this year, it's Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I think I'm glad that guys that play the right way and can fit into a certain system where there's a bunch of alphas is being appreciated.
Yeah, because people talked about who, like, when the roster is announced, people always talk about snubs.
Yes.
Yep. Right.
The big one was Kyrie Irving.
So Kyrie Irving, if he was on the team, I don't know. I think
what they need, Drew Holiday.
There's only one ball.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And he's a guy that dominates the ball.
Yep.
And, Drew Holiday was a great defender. Doesn't really need the ball in his hand. Even a guy like Derek White, he won't play a lot,
Yeah.
but he'll play that role. Even, I don't know, Tyrese Halliburton, who was a freaking All NBA team guy this year, but he's playing a role where he's kind of distributing the ball, take open shots and make open shots, and that's kind of his role.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's just insane. So you guys do think that Canada and Serbia
And Germany.
Okay.
I think France is.
You know what? Thank you. Actually, France is, like, on paper, if you really look at France also has a lot of NBA talent, current and former.
Yeah.
And they do have the size, and like if you look at them strictly on paper, they are another team that I think can compete with them. But for some reason, I don't know what's going on with them. They just have something like
in my mind, when you have Gobert and Wembanyama on this court at the same time, obviously the defensive length and the presence makes it difficult for anyone, no matter what talent you are, to score. But I think the trade-off with having them on is the offense becomes stagnant, and God forbid one of them gets into foul trouble. I think that whole dynamic really changes France's ability to compete for a full game with the cream of the crop teams. You saw, like, I just, like you said, there's something about them, a little vibe that I just don't think that they're capable of. Yeah. They don't have like the it, you know.
And they even have talent too, like across
Fournier, Shelly, all high level EuroLeague guys.
The EuroLeague guys,
the Colo.
Yep.
Yeah.
They do have, like you said, like even their EuroLeague guys are guys who are top dogs in the EuroLeague.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just something with them is, I guess, missing. We could be wrong, obviously.
Of course.
I mean, they just beat Brazil and whatnot, and Brazil's not a great team, but not a bad team either.
Yeah, they put up a fight for the first half, and then France, when they started finding their rhythm, it was game over.
But let's talk about Canada a little bit.
Yeah,
because they've assembled probably the best
team
roster ever.
Yeah,
right? With Shea, Lou Dort, RJ Barrett,
Dylan Brooks,
Jamal Murray, all these
Kelly Olynyk.
Kelly.
How do we think they're gonna do? Because they're in a group where,
Greece, Spain, Australia.
Yep. Yeah. Greece Group A is a nightmare.
Right. So how do we think they're gonna make it out? What do we think?
I think they're gonna make it out for sure.
Okay.
I think we're filming this right before they play Greece, or they might be playing them right now, actually.
Yeah,
but I think
that's hard, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do think that they look good in the preseason Olympic Games. There was some limit restrictions against the USA in their exhibition, so I don't know if that was really a great test of their full potential. But like you said, the roster from top to bottom, I think, is very impressive. The biggest downfall to Team Canada is definitely the size. I would say. Yep. I think for majority of the exhibition games, they started Dylan Brooks at the 4, where I understand they're trying to go to a small ball kind of way, but we'll see. It can pay off, or
I don't think that style of play is going to favor them at all in Europe, though. Like, if you look at the other national teams, they're like Germany, front line's massive, right? Like, you get even Isaac Bonga, who quote unquote can be a guard, is 6'9".
Yeah.
Like, just most teams, their front line is quite tall. So I do think you're right on that part. I think they are going to struggle quite a bit with some teams that have some length.
But I do think, obviously, you can say this for every team, but especially Canada. I think if they can shoot the ball well from the outside,
yes. That they do have a lot of guys that can make shots. Nikhil can make shots. Dylan Brooks can shoot the 3. Olynyk shoots the 3 as well. Like, I think Olynyk is a great big to have in international play, just because how he, again, pick and pop guy. Can make a decision off one dribble, either get to the rim or kick it out again. So
I'm interested to see how Shea and Jamal play side by side.
Yeah, but I do think Team Canada, they're obviously really talented, full of NBA players.
Yeah.
And they are one of those teams that have, like you have your 2 top guys.
Yep.
And then the rest kind of know their roles in a way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they know how to, I think that's, like, when you're talking about teams that kind of get together for the first time, I'm not talking about like Serbia, Germany, all these countries that kind of grew up playing together.
Yeah, the system.
Like Canada and US.
Yeah.
I think that is the biggest thing, right? Like, are they going to buy into the role you have, the playing time? And
that's always the big question.
That is the biggest question. But I do think that, I do think Shea is a really good leader, and Kelly Olynyk as well, where they everyone else around those guys, they kind of know what they're about, what their roles are, and they
Agree.
accept it.
Jamal Murray,
Right.
RJ Barrett.
I think Shea's definitely the guy
Yeah, I
on
think
Team
so, too.
Canada, and like you said, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I'm pretty sure we can expect what he's going to bring to the table, and then how the other
Jamal
guys.
is going to come out as soon as the lights are on. That guy's make shots. So
Yeah.
there's no concern with him.
But you are right. It's one of those examples where they put a bunch of players together,
Mhm.
and I mean they were playing well in the FIBA World Cup, but like, do they have the roster to go all the way?
Yeah. Do you guys have any sleepers, so to speak? I mean, you just talked about Germany.
Talk about Germany. I mean,
But,
it's crazy that Germany.
Japan, anybody or no?
My sleeper
Puerto Rico.
South Sudan.
It's tough to say
Puerto Rico,
because
baby.
we're filming this while the game already ended. But I really do think that if they come out of the group, I think Australia has a pretty talented roster.
Yeah, they're
style
being
of play.
overlooked at.
Yeah.
Being overlooked
I
at.
feel like their name isn't really mentioned when when you mention the guys who have a chance to win at the teams: USA, Canada, France, Serbia. Other than that, I really haven't heard Germany. 5. I don't know.
Like, it's crazy to me though. Like, me and you were just talking about it before Nick showed up. Like, what were the odds for Germany? Like, Germany, who's coming off
30-1. Which,
Yeah,
like,
who's
I thought
coming
was
off
crazy.
Yeah.
FIBA World Cup win, who plays extremely well coached, and like based on their exhibition play against the US, like they also gave them a lot for their money, and everyone's just kind of letting them kind of come by. I think they're a big sleeper. And dude, Group A is like, let's say Greece gets out of Group A. Greece is a tough team. You got Nick Kalathis, 6'6" point guard, EuroLeague player.
Yeah.
You have Papa Nikolaou's got a lot of experience, NBA guy, a former. You have Giannis,
Thomas Walkup.
They're 7-footer.
Yeah.
Papa Giannis, I think his name is. I'm probably butchering it.
They all sound pretty similar. To
Yeah.
sure.
But they have
Laos.
they have a lot of talent too.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's the biggest, greatest display of basketball talent from every single country on one stage. It's really is great to watch. Speaking of that, so I saw a little ESPN snippet of the top 5 players in the tournament.
Oh boy.
Okay, what are your guys' top 5?
Top 5 in the tournament.
Top 5 players.
Yeah. So hold on, but
So,
The top 5 best players.
is there a limit?
what do you mean?
Like, when I say limit, is there
Top 5. That usually means
No,
5.
top 5. I'm saying, is there a limit that I can take from a team?
No.
If you want the
Top
entire
5.
roster to be,
Like,
So-
you cannot
to me-
go like
he wants the top of the starting five.
Yeah. No, to me,
Look down at Chinokic, man.
if you're talking about like the most valuable player, okay, if we don't have this player, then we're not gonna be as good.
Whatever you do for your cat, yeah. What is it?
I would say Nikola Jokic.
Is number 1?
I would say he's number 1
Okay.
because one,
Aren't you proud?
Yep. Finally,
You've come such a long way.
finally, Ray says something positive.
Thank you for acknowledging
No, he's
the
always-
Serbian talent.
He's always
basketball.
against us, man.
Legit.
it's like
with
yeah,
Jokic,
I'm against you.
else?
I'm against you because you get so worked up. It's so funny.
And you like seeing,
yeah,
seeing
I like seeing.
like a little bomb. Yeah.
Hey, man, we're
I would
prideful
say-
people, dude.
I'll say
Okay,
Nikola
Jokic.
Jokic. One because he's one of the, I would say, the best player
Currently.
right currently in the world.
Yeah.
I would say.
There he is again. Music to my ears.
Hold on. Who's second best?
No, we're not.
Player? No, just okay. So Jokic.
So Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Because he's because of
Yep.
the best player.
Yep.
And also best player being on a team that's obviously talented, but they're
Yep.
obviously not as good as USA.
Yep.
Mhm.
So Nikola Jokic, and I'll say Shea will be like number 2.
Okay.
Right? A guy.
You know, I'm just,
You don't have
that's
him?
the graphics that this is the same thing.
Oh, did it?
They had too.
You don't have him. I would say third will be Giannis. Right? You take away
Yep.
Giannis from Greece.
Yep.
That would be a really tough one.
4 and 5 is
4 and 5 is where you can kind of pick whoever, right?
Do you
But-
take FIBA Dennis Schroeder?
Yeah, I think
he's a god.
he would be up there.
Him or
Sure.
FIBA Patty Mills?
And like,
I mean, you guys,
It's
not
crazy.
having a single U.S. player in top 5.
but that's kind of how crazy the U.S. roster is. You can take out any player from that team,
And
and
they're still
you could probably replace them. With,
I still have LeBron in top 5.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
LeBron and then sure, maybe
I think-
Utah Watanabe, maybe nobody.
Japanese shadow.
Nobody. But I would say, yeah, Dennis Schroeder, LeBron, just because, he's been the best player.
Yeah.
But also the whole veteran presence guy, right? Like kind of, he's the guy that kind of keeps everyone together.
Mine's the same as yours, except I struggle with the Giannis and Shea. I flip-flop between who's 2 and who's 3. I think they're both extremely valuable to their teams. I just think solely from the aspect of if you were to take them away from their national team, how worse would they get? I think if you take away Giannis from Greece gets significantly more worse than Canada does if you take away Shea.
That's why I go Shea though, because I do think he's a person that kind of keeps that team together. Like I'm talking,
like talking
leadership wise, and that, like, I'm sure Giannis is like that too. But
I think you can't go wrong with that. Yeah.
We're sure this Nikola Jovic.
Jovic. Sure.
Jovic too. Yeah.
There's
Jokic.
High list.
I was doubting your Serbian basketball.
Bogdanovic. Yeah, Bogdanovic.
There you go. I got it.
All the
Modric.
Yeah, those guys.
5, man. Jokic. Yeah. Bogdanovic.
Oh, God.
No, I'm kidding, man. No, honestly, I'd say it's probably close to yours. I'd put Jokic up there.
I wonder if there's any players that that's a hot take that should be in there.
It's tough between Shea and Giannis. I might give the edge to Giannis a little bit just because, again, he's a huge piece for that Greek team.
Right.
Shea's third. That's so hard.
I guess if LeBron's at 4 or 5 for me, and then I don't really know who the 5th one is. I think
four for me would be Dennis,
because there's guys like,
and then I guess 5.
Wembanyama, like there's guys like that too.
If we're talking about a list of the 5 players I enjoy watching the most, Shea might be number 1 for me. Victor might be number 2. Jokic probably 3. 4 and the 4 might be Curry. 5. I don't know. I think there's some guys that I enjoy, and Victor's just how do you
Victor's nailed, man. That guy is.
He's This is.
It looks like he's playing like a Nerf net.
Nuts.
Like it's.
I was watching a little bit of the France-Brazil game in the first half, and the guy who played for the Lakers, Brazilian point guard, Huertas.
Huertas.
So he's on the left 45. Okay. And Victor Wembanyama is guarding a guy who is in the corner, opposite corner, right corner. He's guarding a guy who's setting a flare for a guy going to the right corner.
Mm-hmm.
So they're setting a flare screen, and the guy is open. Whoever was guarding the guy flaring to the corner got caught on the screen, and Huertas did a hook pass, and that shit was like to the ceiling, right? Perfect pass. And Wembanyama didn't even jump and just reached out with one hand and grabbed it. And they went on the other end and they scored in transition. And I'm like, for someone who doesn't necessarily know or follow basketball really well, you might just think, oh, he stole the ball. But the reach that he has and the impact he has in little things like that, where if it was anybody else, that would have been a perfect pass to the corner and a potential 3. It's the impact is.
He just defies all physics, man.
Yep.
Defies all physics.
Crazy.
It doesn't even make sense when you watch him.
Yeah.
Like some of the dunks, it's like he's just like dropping the ball.
Yeah. And so agile and his biggest thing is going to be just being staying healthy.
Which he's done. He's shown like he does some of those weird.
His durability is good.
A lot of those like I saw him doing like a somewhat of a variation of like a bear crawl before games. Like he does a lot of odd stuff, but obviously it's all paying off.
Yeah.
Like there was one guy in the NBA that would do some really weird things. It was Nikola Petric with the Timberwolves.
Oh,
so
what a name!
His trainer had him like on the ground, and like some players were walking by, his teammates were like, he looks like a big baby on the floor. Like he was doing some weird movements like you would do as like a child or something.
Oh.
Just something completely
him?
Yeah, like
I wouldn't have pictured that.
I would have thought
him like
get an axe and then just chop down on some wood or something like.
Or like going to some place in heavy metal and just crush bench. That's what I picture him.
Like they said, listen, he lifted heavy and whatnot, but a lot of his stuff, like his end of the workout or beginning of the workout, a lot of it was just working on like little muscles, things that would get missed when you're doing kind of like your core lifts, like a dead.
Yeah, mobility and functional strength. Yeah,
like he would do a lot of like they said he looked like a big baby crawling on the floor. Like he was crawling around doing some weird stuff.
Had a hell of a career.
Yeah, but paid off. Like he said that he felt healthy and moved well and whatnot. So
yeah.
Okay. How long are we? 30 minutes. Just to Okay, so to kind of wrap it up,
Yeah.
gun to your head, who's your pick to win?
Serbia.
Well, okay.
Yeah. What
This
kind
guy
of,
asked us
yeah.
a question.
What do you think we're
Gun
gonna
to
say?
your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get it wrong, you're dead.
Yeah.
That was
Come on, man. Dude, hold on though. I think
How the hell do you guys think
I
that?
think
Like,
if you ask him, hold on, though,
take out the whole.
all right. What team do I think is the best team in the tournament? America.
Yeah.
The United States.
Now, who do you
of America.
want to win?
Serbia. And who do I think? I think Serbia can win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like just going back to what like a couple of points we touched on at the start of the conversation, like going back to national team strengths. So I think the biggest thing when you look at France, Serbia, Germany, whatever it's going to be, they play well together. They got a great system.
It's going in one ear and out the other.
Yeah, Ray's just ignoring it. But like you said, what's it going to take to beat Team USA? The system. And when you look at teams like Serbia, like there are a lot of guys that know their role and that will do exactly what they're told. And they're not going to overexceed. They're not going to try to do something that they're not supposed to do. Right? So I think that's where a strength will come in for Serbia, for Germany, for France. Like we got to add them in, where I think they would have a chance of beating the U.S.
Okay. Whatever.
Gun to your head. Who's
USA. It's not even close. Come on now. It's not even.
What happened?
I guess.
Okay, fine. I'll ask you a better question. If you had to pick someone to beat the U.S., who would it be?
Oh man. I don't think I would pick Canada.
Okay.
I don't think that's the first country that
Comes to mind.
comes to mind.
I agree.
It doesn't for me either.
Right? I think it would have to be. I think it would have to be like an
Look at him. He's smiling.
Uncompa-
He's trying so hard not to say it.
unconventional team,
An unconventional team.
like
To
stylistically.
just catch them off guard.
Like I would honestly pick like a team like Germany, or even just like a freak show like France. I just think
So literally anybody
Playing-
but Serbia.
Anyway, yep.
no,
Exactly.
I could have picked Canada
I know
too.
what you're saying. Yeah.
But I'm talking if you play just like a good style of basketball, because in order to
In a little
be-
unique.
in order to be like a team like that, you have to kind of throw the kitchen sink out there and then try
Yeah.
try different stuff.
Yeah, see what sticks.
Right? And to me, it's either a team that will just shoot the lights out,
Yeah.
like that has a bunch of shooters that will make, I don't know, if you make 25 threes in a game,
Yeah.
right? Maybe you have a chance.
So Serbia.
Does Serbia have like really like good shooters like that? Of course.
They have a lot of shooting talent. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't think France is gonna happen, but I do think if there's a unique way to beat them, it's
Yeah.
like
You think France?
it's like a weird, they have Victor and Gobert playing together. It is
Just
weird.
something that isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like odd.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of what I think.
I do think there is a little aspect of, if I have to assume, I would say USA. I'm not fear, but I'm saying they're most likely prepping
Mhm.
for a Serbia matchup, I'd say, and I think that works to just. I'm saying this, but I'm down the line.
Yeah,
I think this works to the disadvantage.
Yeah.
Like I said, a country like Serbia, where I think these other countries that may be overlooked and have a unique style of play can have a better chance of, like I said, that one night catching them off.
Yeah.
and-
That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
What excuse are you guys gonna say when US beats Serbia by 20-1? Are you gonna say, "Oh, I'm glad that they lost because
What I said early on. When I said early on, I wanted them to lose in the.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Serbia that isn't showing them all the cards, and they know they're gonna come out of the group because it's South Sudan and Puerto Rico.
Excuse. Hold on, but
yeah, they are,
Yeah, and then it starts with the knockouts, and that's where it gets.
I'll ask any basketball fan whose country's playing the Olympics. Obviously, you're gonna be biased to your country, and you'd want your country to win. I get USA is a powerhouse team and whatnot.
Like you would want your country to win in
Of
basketball,
course,
but
Korea's in there. You would be going for Korea, would you not?
when's the last time Korea's been in the?
No, I wouldn't.
You want what?
I would root for them, obviously, but I'm realistic. Like I don't
Well, if we're
think
being
like,
realistic, Serbia has a good chance of winning.
I don't think like emotionally. I think like logically how things work, and that's kind of
Fair,
how
but
I-
let's say hypothetically Korea made it into the Olympics.
Yeah.
You cheering for Korea and saying that they could win it, would be the most blasphemous statement ever.
True.
With Serbia, there genuinely is a really good chance that they will win.
Yeah, there is, but for you
So then,
guys,
so then you
for
add
to
that
say-
on our little emotional.
No, for you to say gun to your head, I'm picking Serbia to win is freaking insane. You're dead.
Hey, that's the
You're
trend.
dead.
You know, hold on.
You're the,
I'm
they're not
dodging
even,
the bullet.
they're not even the second or the third favorite to win.
I'm dodging the bullet.
They're not even the second
Listen,
or the third favorite to win.
The one reason that's also
They should be.
stupid.
They should-
should be.
that's a
that's also stupid.
Ridiculous odd.
That's also stupid.
When you sent me the thing today, I couldn't believe that they weren't top 3 odds to win it.
Well, I guess no one else in the world knows basketball just as much as Serbian people do.
That's probably the most true thing you've said this entire podcast.
No, I'll say this though. The one reason why
Olympics last year, and
why I actually
Yeah,
really like,
there's more to that than just.
it's all right though.
Okay, yeah,
I'll say this though. The reason why I do like watching the Olympics overall, like any basketball game, doesn't matter who's playing, is the level of like heart that they play with. Like they're playing for their country.
Yeah, but
And
George,
I
you
think
just
that's
said the soccer players for Serbian team didn't play with
They didn't.
their heart at all. Now the basketball is different. Like how does that work?
Different. It's different players, different people. I think the Serbian team didn't play with a lot of pride. Some guys didn't, and some guys didn't play with their whole heart.
See,
as it is.
but to me, it's like
But I'm saying though, look,
I mean, we can go on
great
forever. We can go on forever.
great.
but-
No, hold on.
But
My final prediction is Serbia wins the Olympics and Djokovic wins the gold medal and he retires as the tennis goat, and that's what's gonna happen.
he's not going to
There
retire.
you go.
First of all,
Right after the gold, he's gonna
He's not
in the speech post game ceremony, he's gonna retire.
he's not retiring.
No,
I
it's not
know,
gonna
but
happen. He's gonna win
seriously,
gold.
if you look at other teams, like a team like Puerto Rico, who qualified,
Yeah,
do those guys play their ass off? Like they're like,
Yeah,
I,
it's true.
I think that's also a big X factor for a lot of these European teams, let's say, or just world teams in general.
well, your assumption is that the team USA wouldn't play for their country. Like they had the
Yeah, it's tough because I think USA
you
is
can't say
insanely
that.
passionate about their country.
insane patriotic.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
fact that
Yes and no,
the
man.
fact that Jason Tatum is okay with coming off the bench. Yeah, because they're playing for the country.
And not even that, just to piggyback.
LeBron
what you were
is
saying.
39 going to the Olympics.
Yeah, and what you
Playing.
were
Why would he do that?
saying is that the whole
If he didn't care.
vibe of Team USA is that they're that the other teams are catching up and they're not as good. So like he said, LeBron at 39, tail end of his career, that still pisses him off enough to try and create together one of the best rosters to prove to everyone. That shows that the passion they have for their country and what it means to them to win is just as high as
I think every team in the Olympics is like
passionate.
they
I
have
agree.
the pride for the country.
I don't think that gives an X
You
factor.
can't also say that if a team loses, they didn't have passion. No, everyone has passion.
No.
It's just-
I'm not saying if you lose, you can lose, but you can see the way some guys are playing. Like there are guys that will die on the court, and you can see in their game that they're really playing with passion for their country.
So if Serbia loses to Germany, are you going to blame it on that? Because I don't think that's fair.
No, I wouldn't blame. No, I don't think so at all. I'm saying most of the guys
right? Like that's
I did for soccer. What did
he did.
One excuse per sport.
Did he not?
I did for soccer?
But anyway,
Do you think our soccer team played like all out? Some guys did, some guys didn't. Like me threw shit to bed.
Yeah, it's a whole separate topic.
I mean,
to get into.
exactly. But
Yeah.
regardless, I do think that's also going to be a bit of an X factor.
okay. Serbia.
That's right.
Serbia.
Yep.
So by August 15th, you'll be dead.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Oh wait, yeah. Time out. What
We'll
happens
make
if
bets. We'll make bets.
what
We'll
happens
make
if Serbia
bets.
wins? What happens if Serbia wins?
Then what? What are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What if they lose? I'm not the person
Okay.
that's gonna that's saying
Dude, if they lose,
outrageous stuff.
hold on. When me and you first originally talked,
Yeah.
I honestly said, if they don't win, I expect a second, like a silver medal. I do think that they'll make it to the final game, and it should be them and
We should make a bet. Winning, maybe not winning, medaling.
Would you shave your head if Serbia loses? Oh, so you just said gun to head. I'm picking
Sure.
Serbia.
I'll
Doesn't
shake my
win,
head.
doesn't win, or
I'll
we
shake
just
my
talked-
head.
medals.
We just talked about. So you guys would do
Okay,
that?
okay. So if Serbia does
No,
win,
not
you,
me- we're talking. We're not talking about
we're
medals.
talking about winning. So
Yeah,
if Serbia does win, you shave your head.
yeah.
You wouldn't do that at all.
We're on it right now. You're that confident
Should we? Oh, dude,
Because-
I'm making this.
because gun to your head.
Ray would have
Gun
shaked
to your head was not a possibility whatsoever.
Okay.
You would never do that.
It's gonna look like that one villain from the James Bond movie.
Are we doing it?
I'm doing it. I'm in.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Doing it.
Let's shake.
All right.
Let's shake. I'll shake my head.
So you guys picked
Nick's cool,
Serbia
dude.
wins the Olympics.
Nick's gonna be in
Yes.
Europe anyways.
say
No one's gonna see
they
him.
don't.
Yeah.
If you lose, you're shaving your head.
And if they win, you shave your head.
Of course.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
And that's how we're
On that note,
done.
All right.
We just